Alright, so you get another update here. The last video I did was kind of on like getting some fitment done and everything. Just some things that people don't really discuss in some of the forums, and one of the thing is the clutch master cylinder. As you can see, it wants to hit right against the header, so unfortunately, without modifying my header or my slave cylinder, all I could do was bang that in. So for right now, we're banging that in. We're gonna insulate the header and the slave cylinder. So I know everybody's gonna gripe about it, but that's what's happening for now. And then I think eventually what's gonna happen is we're gonna take like an inch out of these headers, bring them in a little bit. The steering column does go right in here. Luckily ours went in relatively simple. This is the second time we've taken it out because, like I said, we had some fitment issues, but it seems to work fine. So everybody says you can use the Jeep shaft, or they make kits for U-joints. That I don't see any problem with the stock. It fits right around the headers. It's just, for some reason, even though this is made for this application, I think they made this header a little too long, because the drive shaft goes somewhere around here. So that all this space over here that is not needed, where we could have gotten it away from the clutch master cylinder. I had to bang these out of, not bang them, but pull these out of the way also. They're not as close as they look. That's just the way the angle is. So we're gonna have to be doing some heat wrapping and everything for all that stuff, and I'm gonna keep a close eye on it, and it's not gonna stay like that. We're just trying to get this thing running. But I changed the carb out. This is an Edelbrock, what is this, a 1406 I think, and you can tell right here, just so you know if you're not sure, it's a 1406. Right on the front of the carb it'll tell you. Okay, so this is 600 CFM, I know that. So I believe it's CFM, but it's 600 anyway. So distributor, I just changed the cap out. The other cap was hitting against the firewall, but this one gives us plenty of room. So all I did is just got one that the plugs go on the top of the cap. On the other one, the cap, there was another piece that went on top of this, and it still had the coil in it, so I couldn't even take the top off. So then we got fuel lines. I ran fuel line with fuel filter to regulator. I put a gauge on there. Okay, running it to the carb. Got the choke. Okay, I know that this is this one is for the, I believe it's the starter. I believe this one is the alternator. I will figure them out in a minute. Not in a minute, but soon. And then this is the alternator wire. So I'm going to clip these, put a ring on them, and stick them on there. So I just have to, we already have we have the power wire on the starter already. So I just need to put the other wire to the starter. Yeah, it is that one, as a matter of fact, because that's why it's cut. So this is the starter wire, and then this is the signal wire right here. Okay, so most of this is not getting used. It's going to get cleaned up, but I didn't want to cut anything until I was sure where it was going. I did move this. It was here, and I moved it down because I didn't have anywhere else to put this. This isn't fully on here, but I just gotta put these two screws on. But yeah, this was the only place I could put this because there really wasn't any room over here. So ordered a Corvette Radiator. From what I understand, I'm gonna have to cut a little bit of this out of here. Some people can barely fit it in there. I think if anything, it would be sitting against it perfectly. I don't think that's the way we're going to do it. I don't think we're going to put it in front of it, but who knows? We'll see when it gets here, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be recessed into here. We're going to do an electric fan on the front. So once we put the battery back in, just plugs, wires, distributor, slave cylinder, we still have to connect, and then So with the slave cylinder, okay, let's see if I can find it here. There it is. Okay, so with the slave cylinder on the, this is the S10 fitting. Sorry that it's not focusing in, but there we go, I only got one hand. So this fitting is on the S10. This piece right here is not long enough to fit in the Camaro's slave cylinder. So you're gonna run new lines or a new slave cylinder altogether in order to put in the Camaro slave cylinder, because the S10 slave cylinder, let's see if I can find it here. Okay, this is the Camaro T5 slave cylinder, and this is off of the S10. Okay, these bolts, these mounting bolts right here are in, the diameter is a lot smaller. Let's see if I can get this lined up. It's hard to tell. They look like they're the same size. The S10 ones are a lot smaller. It's hard to see on here. Let's see if I can do it this way. Okay, there you go. Okay, this is a lot more narrow. All right, and this is the one that will bolt up to the V8 T5. So I want to use this slave cylinder. Some people, what they do, I only saw one video of a guy, what he did was he cut notches out here, and then he just put in a bolt on each side with a huge washer. And he said he was running that for years. So if you really want to do that, have at it. I don't personally want to, and I'm not knocking him. It's just that this is something that I really don't want to come back to later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and run, now this one the piece is broken, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to try and run this. So I'm just going to get new lines so that the line runs from here up to the slave cylinder on the other side of, you know, the slave cylinder is right here, but it's on the other side of the firewall. If you have a 80s S10, the 80s S10 clutch master cylinder, I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say on the firewall before, the clutch master cylinder, not the slave cylinder. Clutch master slave cylinder, or the clutch master cylinder for the 90s S10, I believe it's 92 and 93, is bigger, the one that I have, and that's why it comes so close to this header. If you have an 80s S10, it does not touch when you put in the headers. It's just very close. So you'll have a little bit better you know, time with it. I do not know if the 80s clutch master cylinder will fit in the 90s truck, but it is worth a try. But don't take my word for it, because I am not positive. But it seems to me the only problem you might have is the way, all right, this right here is the clutch master cylinder, okay, and the way it comes in is at an angle. It's hard to see on here, but it comes in at an angle, and when the way it sticks out the other side on mine in the 90s version is like this. On the 80s it points down more. So I don't know if that would affect your pedal, but it is potentially worth a try checking it out. Maybe comparing the parts, something like that. For me, like I said, I'm going to change the line and do some heat shrinking, and then we're going to use off of a Camaro. So I believe this is off a 90s Camaro, but I believe it's anywhere from a 90 to 80 something to 86 to a 95, I think it is. So just so you know, that is a problem you'll run into if you're doing a manual swap. Okay, the other problem I'm having, hold on one second. Okay, now I'm under the truck. All right, and sorry, I won't drop the camera. As you can see, there's the header coming right for where the slave cylinder goes. So what I'm going to have to do, and it's going to really suck, I'm going to have an exhaust guy take this exhaust and bring it up through here. It's going to be really tight, but I think I can get it in there That's really the only option I have. Now the reason I'm doing new lines, now that we're under here, these are plastic lines, and not only do I not want them to melt, even though there's some wrap on here, you can't bend them at all. They don't, you know, I can't really get it to, you know, I just got that right in my eye. I can't really get it to go in the, you know, threaded through the way I need it to. So I just have to, you know, redo it. Alright, I'm going to have to end this video because it just got this in my eye. So if you have any problems, questions, comments, let me know and I'll try to help you wherever I can.